So it's 9 o'clock on the 1st of April 2020, and this is one of the busiest times of the day in Cuffley. The road behind me, Station Road, is usually bustling with school traffic and people on their way to work. Today it's much quieter. It's been 6 weeks now since we've known about the coronavirus, and slowly but surely things have been closing down. It was only a week ago that a full shutdown was put in place and all the shops, other than the food shops, were closed. We're being told to stay inside and only come out for exercise and shopping for essentials.
The film that follows is a week-by-week diary of how we filled our time during the 12 weeks of lockdown.
It's Tuesday the 7th of April. We've been in lockdown now for 2 full weeks. And in the last week alone, 3,965 people have died of coronavirus. That's nearly 3 times as many as died in the previous 6 weeks. And last night we learned that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, was taken from hospital into intensive care. Meanwhile, government guidelines remain the same. So why am I out today? Well, before I go back, I've got some shopping to do, and I did actually walk here as well, which means I've had my daily exercise. So, something of an excuse, but nevertheless, I have stopped off just to film the high street, just to record exactly how it is in these rather difficult times.
This lovely day is Easter Sunday. Usually the nation would be making the most of the weather around the coast and congregating in beauty spots. Activities the government wants us to avoid this year. In Cuffley we're really lucky. Most residents have well-attended gardens to enjoy, and our garden is looking better than ever, so early in the season. Particularly vulnerable are the elderly. That's anyone over the age of 70, me for instance, and those with underlying health conditions. The great fear is that if too many of us get the infection at the same time, we'll overwhelm the NHS. So when we do venture out, social distancing is being observed by keeping 2 metres from others and crossing the road rather than sharing the pavement. And that's not difficult when Talmas Road is this deserted. Today we learn that more than 10,000 people have died in hospital as a result of the coronavirus. And, what's more, as a nation, we're heading to be the worst in Europe. We've reached the end of the 4th week of shutdown, and today, the 20th of April, we start the 5th. We remain at home and are only venturing out for a walk each day. So how have we spent much of the last week? Well, fortunately, the garden has been a great refuge, and the weather has been kind for the most part. So much of our time is spent out there. It's that time of the year when all the new growth is fresh, and there's much to do to tidy up for the summer months ahead.
So we put a new fruit bed in this year, and these are cuttings from some vines in a vineyard. Elsewhere along here we've planted red currants, gooseberries and black currants.
I'm rather pleased with our compost bins. We use these not just for grass cuttings, but also our raw kitchen waste and general garden vegetation. If you keep it well aerated and let it brew over the winter like this one, by the spring it's full of worms and breaking down well and will soon be ready for spreading on the beds. As today draws to a close, we hear from the authorities that they now believe that the coronavirus deaths probably peaked around the 8th of April. That's nearly 2 weeks ago. And although no immediate end is in sight, at least it gives us comfort that the social distancing and staying at home is having a positive impact. This is Hartford on Monday morning at the start of lockdown week 6. Deserted, with just the sound of pigeons to be heard. So, what was I doing in Hartford this morning? Well, when I rolled the car out the garage in order to do this job and also paint the floor, I noticed a pool of water. So I had to take the car into the garage in Hartford this morning. Having said that, we had our exercise by walking home, which is a really nice thing to do down the Hertfordshire way. Well, as you can see, after 6 weeks of lockdown, I'm still finding jobs to do. The Hertfordshire Way is a 180-mile route around the county. It passes just a few hundred yards from here up Tolmers Road and takes in Hartford as the county town. It's something we discovered when we did the whole route. More than 20,000 have now died since the outbreak, and all across the country, tributes are being paid to the frontline staff in the NHS and care professions, including the weekly clap as neighbours emerge together at 8 p.m. on Thursday evenings. I want to record something special that's happened in the family this week. That's during week 6 of the lockdown. Each weekend we get together as a family on Zoom. And Barbara, seen here keeping in touch with her friends on the phone as she usually does, sets the family a challenge. This week it's been 2.6, a national charity idea promoted by the BBC to replace the London Marathon, which was due to take place last Sunday. The London Marathon, of course, is 26 miles. Barbara said she would sponsor each member of the family if we took part. So these are the things that we've achieved. 26 biscuits, a full marathon, 26 miles, juggled 3 oranges 26 times,
22, 23, 24, 25, 26.
26 1-minute planks. Don't try this at home. 26 times running up Silver Hill, the highest point in Nottinghamshire, and back, total of 17 miles. 26 miles on bike rollers, walking 2.6 times round Northall Greatwood, 9.5 miles, 26 rounders, cycling 26 circuits of the Englischer Gardens Lake in Munich. 2.6 miles walked each day, 2.6 miles cycled by the 8-year-old, 26 circuits of the local estate, 26,000 steps in 12 hours, 26 cookies, 26 lemon drizzle slices, and in total £265 were sent to the Rainbows Children's Hospice. We're now into May, and week 7 ended on a high note weather-wise, and a glorious day that was sadly not set to last for the week to follow. This week, the country's reached 2 major milestones: 200,000 confirmed cases and 30,000 deaths. The UK has also now recorded more deaths than any other European nation. So with the isolation continuing, it's true to say that in week 7, the novelty of the first few weeks is wearing rather thin. But we're continuing to keep ourselves busy with various activities. I've made these frames from my race walking medals. A sport of my younger years. I know you're thinking, well, what an odd one. But it's one I enjoyed, and for a number of years I was captain of the Stock Exchange Walking Club, and these are my Stock Exchange medals. My favourite being this one, the London to Brighton, in 9 hours 6 minutes and 3 seconds in 1978. I'm also rather proud of this one, 25 miles in 3 hours 55 minutes and 39 seconds. It fulfilled one of my ambitions of being under 4 hours for 25 miles. This frame is from my other club and county medals, where I was county champion at 3,000 metres and 10 miles. This is a job that would never have been done but for the enforced isolation. And on one of our walks we revisited the wall where we used to meet after school. That then led to our first date. Monday, May the 11th, and the start of week 8. It's been an uneventful week for us. So uneventful, in fact, that I counted the worms in my compost. So how many do you think there were? Well, I'm not going to tell you now, but I'll keep you guessing. With a marked drop in the number of new cases in hospital, and subsequently the deaths, the government has announced now that it's taking the first steps to ease the lockdown. What this has meant for us is that we've felt freer to visit others, if only on their doorsteps. In some ways, we've been in touch with family and friends more frequently than we would do when we're getting on with life in the usual way. Well, have you guessed how many worms are in that compost? Well, obviously I haven't counted them all, but I did measure out a jug full, and the jug is 1 litre, and in that 1 litre there was 51. So by my reckoning, with 300 litres, that's at least 15,000. Were you close? It's the 25th of May, Bank Holiday Monday, and another glorious day. In fact, it reads something strange has been going on with the weather during the coronavirus lockdown. There have been endless long spells of sunshine over a large part of the country, and in fact it's been so gloriously sunny that it may turn out to be the sunniest spring on record. Even more astonishing, this spring may turn out to have clocked up more hours of sunshine than many of our sunniest summers. I know I keep banging on about the compost, but I was thinking, it's 15,000 worms in that bin. Seemed a lot. I've got 2 bins, that's 30,000. Since the lockdown began, 37,000 people have died of COVID-19. So let me tell you about some of the activities that we've been involved in this week, week 10. The weather has remained nothing short of spectacular. We had a lovely walk from Newgate Street, our next village, to Little Berkhamsted, where the village shop sells an excellent coffee that can be enjoyed sitting in the shade on the cricket green. You've probably noticed by now the new COVID hairstyle. The village shop is well stocked with some of the things difficult to get hold of.
I like your shopping.
An added bonus.
Flour and a sanitizer. Self-raising flour.
A change of scene midweek with a day trip to Frinton. Not overly crowded, as it was high tide, but it was not all sitting round drinking coffee, as we painted the inside of our beach hut, ready for the summer. Back home, and a socially distanced get-together with neighbours. We know this is a little ahead of the announcement that such gatherings are permitted, But it seems such a shame to waste this wonderful spring if you can do so safely, with the garden looking so lovely. Restrictions are slowly being lifted, so we take a trip into London and walk through Regent's Park in all its early summer splendour to an eerily quiet Oxford Circus.
This is a security announcement. Customers are requested to keep their possessions with them at all times. When leaving this station,
And we find we have Oxford Street to ourselves. As well as Bond Street. This year, Welwyn Garden City is celebrating its centenary. With many of the planned activities curtailed, we were, however, still able to do the 20-kilometre centenary walk, setting off from Mill Green to the southeast of the town, through woodland tracks and trails and out into open country, and on into the Mimram Valley. A nice place to stop for coffee. The Mimram is a chalk stream. Chalk streams are rare. They rise from chalk aquifers so that the water is pure and clear and rich in minerals. There are only 200 chalk streams known globally, 85% of which are found in the UK. Upstream of our picnic spot is Chewingbury Farm, now a wedding and event venue, and an opportunity to treat ourselves to an ice cream before walking under the Welwyn Viaduct that carries the East Coast Main Line over the Mimram. Round the north side of the town is Sherrod's Park Wood, and that leads us into the Brocket Hall estate with its upmarket golf course. Finally, we're ending back into Wellingborough Lakes, close to where we started. Altogether, a lovely day out, and another day of avoiding infection.
The biggest easing of lockdown in England yet, as clothing shops and department stores reopened. Despite the long queues outside many shops, customers were glad to be back.
Really excited, a bit of normality, like good shopping sprees, not the same as online shopping.
Just as long as you use your disinfectant and your anti sort of thing and you keep your distance, it's absolutely fine.
Hopefully not like this though. The reopening at Nike Town on Oxford Street was far from orderly.
Last week, as we've seen, non-essential shops can open, albeit with restrictions. And this week, Boris Johnson has announced that the period of hibernation is coming to an end. As from this coming Saturday, the 4th of July, hotels, B&Bs, campsites, restaurants and bars will be allowed to open, as will hairdressers. 95 days ago, lockdown started. The 23rd of March seems a lifetime ago. In this time, over 300,000 people have been confirmed as having COVID-19, the strain of coronavirus that's brought the world to a standstill. And in the UK, over 43,000 lives have been lost to it. So where are we now? The number of people contracting COVID-19 has been coming down steadily since early April. We've been extremely lucky with the garden. And we tried to make the most of it by doing things indoors that may never have otherwise have got done.
So maybe this is the time to bring this video diary to a close and reflect back over the 12 weeks of lockdown. Remember the 5th of November, the day we went back into lockdown. Hooray!